a music producer with 2 years of focus can beat a music producer with 10 years of grinding every time. Here's why I think that. We all know the popular idea that it takes 10,000 hours to become world class in anything. This idea came from the book Outliers from Malcolm Gladwell, and it basically talks about how it takes 10,000 hours of practice to achieve mastery in any field. He used examples like the Beatles playing hundreds of hours in Hamburg clubs before they made it big. He talks about Bill Gates having access to computers when he was a teenager, and that made him logged in hours and hours of programming before he founded Microsoft. So the idea became this: mastery equals time plus repetition. Just put in your 10,000 hours and you'll get there. I would argue that for our case, it's not really what we need. I've been doing this music thing for over a decade now, and I don't live off of music right now because of the time that I put in. It's not a time thing, it's a focus thing. After almost quitting a few years ago, in the last 2-3 years, I dived into learning about business, entrepreneurship from podcasts and books, and focusing on how to create these things sustainable made me make informative decisions with intention towards the future that I want to have. So the focus is the thing that changed. It's not the amount of time I spend doing the thing. The whole problem that I find with Gladwell's idea is that he assumes that all hours are equal, and obviously they're not. Someone can spend 10,000 hours tweaking knobs, making sounds, experimenting and vibing out in their studio without getting the results that he needs to get to the places that he wants to get. They might release amazing freaking music, but can they make this thing sustainable for themselves? So yes, you gain the skill, but is that the only skill you need to achieve the life you want to live? If you want to play a main stage in a big festival that plays hard dance music and you spend 80,000 of those 10,000 hours making ambient music and chill out soundscapes, you're probably not going to reach your goal. Obviously, silly example, but you know what I mean. On the other end, a producer that spends 1,000 hours, a tenth of it, with focus and intention in what it is that he wants to achieve and what he spends his time doing, has way more potential to actually achieve what he sets to achieve. Again, it's not a time thing, it's a focus thing. So what makes an hour intentional? The intention comes from knowing where you want to get to. By having a big goal, by knowing that in 4 years you want to play this and this stage and release on that label, sign with that agency, whatever it is that you wish for your career, as big as audacious as that goal is, it will help you make the next move a good move. You don't just say, I want to be successful. That's not a goal, that's just a wish. Where do you actually want to be? Get specific, then work backwards from there. This is something that I do with every artist that I work in my music academy. First session, we set a goal and we see how we can get it. I want my students to be result driven. If you have these 1,000 hours of intentional work, you can have so many hours for creative and artistic expression that will end up adding to the overall experience of you being a music producer that's chasing a sustainable career. So when we decide that we want to go and play that festival, we go and look at the lineup. Is there anyone that makes similar type of music to what they're making? You should do the same thing. If you want to play a big festival, go see who's getting booked. If there's someone there that makes similar music to you, where do they release their music? What's the aesthetic of their brand? How do they interact with their community, with their fans, with the people that following them? Do they have a big Instagram following? Are they killing it on Spotify? What can you learn from the person that's doing the thing right now that you want to do in the future? And by the way, here's a hack. All those people that are where you want to get to are people just like you. If you want to learn from them, if you have any questions, if you want to get to the sound that they got to, message them. It's 2026. Message them on Instagram, email them, contact their management, whatever it is, try to reach out. You never know what it's going to lead to, and you might as well try. Now, you know where you want to get to, and you walked backwards. When you're in the studio, you need to focus on the right thing. Are you exploring for the sake of exploring, or are you building towards something? Both have their place. You still need to be an artist. You should still experiment and explore your sonic boundaries and see how you can push the envelope for yourself, for your music, for your listeners, whatever it is. But if you're looking from a result-driven perspective, and if you want to stack the odds in your favor, you need intention behind the hours you put in. An intentional hour would know exactly where the track is going, how you're going to release it, why you are making it, at what point in the set it's going to be. You are stacking the odds in your favor. You're making a track for the label to say yes to. You're making a track for the peak time time of your set, you're making your music for the peak time of the festival or wherever you want to play your music. Having an intentional hour will worth more than 100 hours of just exploring for the sake of exploring. If you want to be result driven and progress with your music career, you have 100 albums and no one listening. If you want to spend those 10,000 hours on just gaining the skill of music production, that's completely fine. But if you want that skill to translate into a career, you need to have a clear goal when you're just starting the session. If you want 3 weeks ago, I released another video with the 3Fs framework, which goes through focus, fast, and fun. I think you'll find it valuable if you like this concept. This is basically the extension of the focus part of, and this really comes because I work more and more with beginner producers, and because I want them to get results faster. They don't need to do this for more than a decade like I did. If you'd had focused and intentional sessions, know where you're getting and how you can get there, you can have that time and even more. I really believe that a producer with 2 years of focused hours can get further in his career than an artist that's just grinding for a decade. This comes as the person that grind for a decade and learned it the hard way in the last few years. Focus is one of your biggest assets. It's where you put your attention. It's the rarest thing you can have, your time. In order for your time to get you to where you want to get, understand where you are and understand where you want to get to. Now, if you have a goal, you know where you're going, you dissected a different artist, maybe you even talk to them, you know your plan, you got everything down packed. I would argue that none of this matters if you're not having fun. And I will talk about this concept in my next video. So for now, go explore, understand where you're going with your music. I hope this was of value to you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.